With the tools of wonder and limitless imagination, I built a world for the forgotten, the unloved. A once joyous land, now ruined by a mischievous mouse. But redemption comes through unparalleled bravery, long-lost friends, and the power of the brush. Only then can a mischievous mouse become an epic hero.
I'm here with Matt from Disney Interactive, and we are going to get our first look at Epic Mickey.
Hi, thanks for coming by and checking out the show. We love having you guys here.
Thank you very much. Let's get started. Well, tell us all about it.
All right, so Disney Epic Mickey is about a place called Wasteland. This is a world that's been created for all the forgotten, the lost, the rejected characters from 80 years of Disney history. So as these characters are no longer in the public eye, they kind of come here to retire. One day, Mickey finds some magic stuff, starts messing around as Mickeys want to do with things that are cool, gets a little in over his head and creates a monster. Now, the monster kind of scares Mickey, he runs away, and then afterwards the monster finds his way here, starts wreaking havoc across the land. So Mickey eventually gets pulled back into the wasteland and sees the damage he's accidentally caused and is set about trying to make things right.
All right, that's a good start. It kind of sounds a little like Sorcerer's Apprentice with him just getting into things he shouldn't.
Yep, very, very Sorcerer's Apprentice on the backstory on this. Again, everything in this game is taken from Disney's past. If you're a huge Disney fan, you'll be spotting things left and right. And even people who don't call themselves Disney fans will still be like, oh.
So this game is perfect for playing Disney Bingo.
Oh, excellent for playing Disney Bingo. So what I'm showing you right here is about halfway through the game. This is called Ventureland. This is one of our questing zones. So this is where you're going to do a lot of the RPG experience. You're going to be meeting a lot of characters, getting a lot of the backstory. First thing I'm going to do is talk to Smee. This is, of course, one everybody recognizes, Disney fan or not. You know Smee. So the great thing is when we were making this game, we started going through all the Disney archives, and with 80 years of archives, there's a lot of stuff to look through. We were kind of coming up with ideas for the cutscenes we wanted to do, and we saw these great, 2D storyboards that the artists had used creating all of the cartoon classics that we all grew up with. And, we felt kind of bad because nobody really gets to see these storyboards that the artists create. They look gorgeous. So we kind of wanted to take that storyboard style and add some of the artistic flair from Disney, kind of punch it up, and that's how we get our 2D style. And honestly, I love it.
So were you using Disney animators or all the game developers?
We're using the game developers for this. They are artists. Yes, but yeah, we're taking a lot of reference from the old Disney artists. So right now, Smee's telling us about what's going on in the land. Our objective for Mickey at this moment is we're trying to get to the Jolly Roger. So Smee's letting us know the captain's actually been turning all the pirates into monsters. So the pirates not liking this idea too much. They fled Skull Island, they came here, and they closed the door behind them. So in order for us to proceed, we have to find the pieces of the broken door, repair it. Now, while we're heading there, Smee's asked if we can take care of this machine. So when we get up to Skull Island, we're actually going to have a choice we can make. We can either go straight through and finish the objective, because, we are trying to save the world. It's an important task. Or we can stop along the way and help Smee out. We can use our abilities to either destroy the machine completely, which means it'll never be used for evil again, or we can fill it with paint and try to fix it up and make it so it reverts all of the robots back into pirates. And however you go about doing this is going to dramatically affect the rest of the game for you. As you come back into the level, things are changed, the people will be different, all the dialogue is going to be completely new for you.
All right, and so you mentioned paint and thinner. What's that about?
So paint and thinner, when Mickey comes into Wasteland, it's a land made of paint and thinner. It was made by a great artist just for cartoon characters. So when Mickey gets pulled in, he actually gets mixed up with the essence of the world a bit, and he gets the ability through his magic paintbrush to wield paint and thinner. And he can use his own essence to go up and interact with all the cartoon versions of the world. So as we see all of this brightly colored, very cartoon, lifelike, these can all be erased with Mickey's thinner. And likewise, you can see some silhouettes kind of the area that should be cartoon, and we can paint that back in. So that's Mickey's primary tool set in the game, is his ability to interact with the environment and change it to what he sees fit and how the wasteland should be in his eyes. And
so there's definitely a lot of opportunities for exploration here.
Definitely. Part of that, I want to say half of the game is exploration, half of the game is role-playing, and half of the game is action. but
Now-
I end up with too many halves.
Well, now you said that we have to make choices here. So is this really going to affect the rest of the game, like change endings?
We'll have multiple endings. We're not giving away exactly what the differential is going to be yet. But not only will it affect the ending, but it's also going to affect the game. So as I come back to Ventureland, because this is one of the hubs you will be visiting repeatedly, everything I do is going to change this land as I go through. So I can actually see this 3-4 different playthroughs, and it can be different every time depending on what I've done. So right now I'm going to talk to someone who holds one of the items I need to unlock the door, and he's a pirate named Scurvy Pat. He can't find his treasure. So he'll give us a compass if we find his treasure, or in true pirate fashion, we can just collect enough money and buy it from him. So I'm going to use all of our abilities to try to locate his treasure. Mickey's got some core abilities, the standard platforming. We have our jump, double jump. We also have a spin, which can open up objects from the environment, and it'll also push enemies away from us when we're in combat. So I'm going to see this silhouette here that looks like there should be something there, like a kind of sketchy atmosphere. I'm going to paint that in, create another platform for me to go up into the treehouse.
So those red things, they look kind of like money.
They are money. Those are Disney tickets. All the cartoon characters love Disney tickets. They kind of use that to trade things in between each other. They can be used like the real world. You can buy things, you trade with shopkeepers. And also like the real world, sometimes people just want to get more money, and you can purchase help for them or sometimes avoid whole quests if you just want to buy your way through it.
Okay. So what's the inventory management like? Is there a limit to how much you can carry?
There is a limit to how much you can carry. I don't want to get too much into the inventory at this time. We'll show you one of the objects we're going to have in the game. I'm going to turn in the teddy bear we found now, and we'll proceed on to the next area. But yeah, the inventory, it's a simple inventory management. We don't want to overwhelm people. We want them to have fun playing the game and not worrying about what's behind the scenes. So from here, I'm going to try to transition to the next level. To do this, we come up to a movie screen, and Mickey, being a movie star, can use movies to travel between one area and the next. So I'm going to tell Mickey to jump into this movie screen, and he's actually going to use this movie to go to Skull Island.
Yeah, and I think everybody knows Steamboat Willie at this point.
Everybody knows Steamboat Willie. I'm sure we've all seen it, but it's lovely. Would you like to give Steamboat Willie a shot yourself?
Sure, I'd love to. Now, before we get started here, I'm left-handed, and I'm one of those weird people that like holding the Wiimote in the left hand and the nunchuck in the right. Is that going to screw up anything in the game?
It shouldn't screw up anything in the game. For the demo right now, your meters will be reversed, but we will have a left-handed option where that'll flip that around if you are left-handed.
Okay, so what are we doing for the controls here?
Let's see if you can figure it out.
All right, we got that.
You play video games,
I
right?
play video games, of course.
Well, let's see.
So you still have the double jump here? Yes,
yep.
you do.
This is one of the great things we love about Mickey is I can hand the controls off to people, and I don't have to explain what's going on. They know what they're doing. I mean, with Mickey, we want to hit kind of that classic retro feel where everybody feels familiar with the game, and then add our own twist on top of it. So there is a bit harder path up top. That's our more challenging path. Most of our 2D levels are transition levels. We'll have this alternate path where you can get some additional pickups, more bonuses. Or there'll be an easier path where you can just walk around and you can get to the end.
So this screen, what do I do with this screen here?
You hit the A button and you will exit the movie and come out into the next land.
So is this the end here? Or
this
like,
is the end of our transition
the harder path,
level.
You'll get that little
Yep,
clip?
you can get that little movie clip.
All right, is that like an unlockable that you can watch on the menu?
It will be an unlockable of some sort. We're not going into details on what it unlocks just yet. So one thing I do want to point out is we are looking to not have any loading screens in the final game for the E3 demo, of course. We're still there.
So it's going to be a seamless Wii game.
We are looking for a seamless Wii game.
So paint,
all right. So now we're going to be moving into what we call an action zone. This is a little bit different, but now that you've got the basic, platforming controls down.
Yeah.
So for you, your left hand is going to be your paint. Your right hand trigger is going to be your thinner. If you hold it down, it's going to shoot a stream out at wherever you're aiming the crosshair. And if you tap it, it'll do a quick burst in front of you. That's more useful for combat, but has a very limited range.
Yeah.
So much like the environment where you can paint in and you can thin, you can also do that to the enemies. So we have these little spatters we can see at the bottom right. Those are cartoon characters. They're also made of paint. Now if you paint them more, you're going to make them a little more Mickey-like. They're going to like you, join your side, and help you out. If you use thinner, of course, you're going to thin their paint away, remove them from the world. So there's one of those, your play style really does matter in this game. And the game's going to track how you do this and what goes wrong.
All right. right, so let's look at the UI here.
So looking at the UI. So at the bottom right, we have our paint meter. At the bottom left, we have our thinner meter. As these empty out, if you get to the very bottom, you're always going to refill to that first bar.
Okay.
Now, the game's going to track how much you use of each. If you use a lot of paint, that paint meter will actually grow taller and the thinner meter will shrink. Whereas if you look like you really like to use the thinner, the opposite will happen.
All right.
Another thing we can notice is at the top, we have Mickey's face, his general happiness that's dependent on his health, and those red dots are going to be his health meter. The meter below that is tracking your current paint and thinner use. So as you use paint, that's going to fill up with blue, or as you use thinner, it's going to fill up with green. Every time you hit a bar, you're going to attract what we call a guardian. Now they're kind of like the spirits of paint and thinner of the world, and if you use a lot of paint, you're going to attract paint spirits. And these guardians that we call tints are going to kind of follow Mickey around.
Oh, those are the little blobs that you see around him. Okay.
So the paint, the tints that are made of paint, if they come into contact with an enemy that's trying to attack Mickey, they're going to turn him into a friend of Mickey's. Whereas if you're using a lot of thinner, you're going to get what we call a terp. And those are made of thinner. And if an enemy comes close and tries to attack Mickey, that terp's going to go out and actually hurt the enemy. So there's one more ability I do want to show you, and it's Mickey's ability to actually paint in sketches in the world. So let me find where we came from. So there's a treasure chest back on the mainland. I'm going to go open that up and I'm going to find a TV sketch. If I want to, I can use Mickey's artist abilities and paint a TV into the world. And depending on where I am in the world, it's going to have different effects. If I paint it near some cartoon characters, they also love cartoons, they'll probably sit down and watch the TV. Robots will be affected differently, and they'll also be used to solve puzzles in a variety of ways. So this is one of the inventory objects you can get in the game. We're only really showing the combat uses of the TV in the demo, but there are some puzzle elements. And there's more sketches in the game that we're really not talking about right now. So as you see, we have these guys coming up to attack us. But I really don't want to fight them, so I'm going to put a TV out there. And you can see all these guys get all excited. They want to come up. They want to watch Steamboat Willie. I'm going to run by them.
How long do you think it's going to take the average player to play through?
We're not quite sure yet. We're still deep in development. We're really messing with the game. But we're looking at about 8 hours is where we want to be if you just want to play through the game.
So if you're just like going straight through, only saving the world, ignoring everyone else.
We want to be about 8 hours. And of course, the more you want to do, the longer that's going to be. But yeah, I mean, Warren said it himself. He's done the 100-hour plus games, and we don't want to put people through that. We know they're fun, but we want people to actually finish the game.
Excellent. And now this is a single-player experience.
This is a single-player experience exclusively for the Nintendo Wii.
All right, and when is it coming out?
It's going to be out holiday 2010.
All right, I can't wait. People are calling this Game of Show, and I can kind of see why.
Epic Mickey was really one of my favorites of the show. One, it's coming out this year, it's not a maybe, they swear that it's going to be a holiday release, and it's nice to know that I'm going to get my hands on it soon. Two, it almost feels like an old-fashioned game, especially compared to everything else that people were showing off this year. It's kind of weird to think that, Nintendo Wii games with the waggle in them and the aiming at the screen can be considered old-fashioned these days. But with 3D gaming, with Sony with their own little waggle sticks, and the Kinect, which I keep wanting to call Kinetic because of the iToy Kinetic, and it just rolls off the tongue better, and years of practice, but it's Kinect, 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 Kinect. I can do this. I'm just really excited about it. The focus on story means a lot to me. It'd be nice to play a great game with an encompassing story that isn't 100,000 hours and doesn't take, say, 30 hours to get through the tutorial. Not that I'm naming names, but you all know what I'm talking about. If they pull off the seamless world, I think that's going to be incredibly cool, because seriously, who likes loading screens? Nothing good has ever happened on a loading screen. Though, hey, if you know examples, let me know. I'd be kind of curious. But still, no loading screens is a very, very good thing. The level of polish that they're planning on putting on this game should be really impressive. And like Mario Galaxy 2, it's going to be really hard to beat as a platformer, but this one has more RPG elements. I'm curious about the inventory system. I'm curious to see how the cinematics play out, because from what I've seen, they're gorgeous. And I hope that they maintain that throughout the game, and I know that I'm probably going to chase after all these different endings, and I don't even like Mickey. That's the part that really astounds me. I don't like Mickey, even though I like some of the other Disney characters, and I'm really excited about this game. So holiday this year, I'll get my hands on it, and we'll see if it lives up to the hype. Now, before I wrap up this episode, Disney provided an interview with Warren Spector that I'd like to share. It does cover some familiar ground, but I love seeing the creators' take on their own projects, so I will see you next time.
My name is Warren Spector, and I'm the General Manager and Creative Director at Junction Point Studios. I believe with every fiber of my being that games can tell stories as deep and as sophisticated as movies, books, or any other medium. This game is no exception. The power of Walt Disney's imagination brought into being this alternate world called the Wasteland, where all of Disney's forgotten and rejected characters, they all end up in the cartoon wasteland. Mickey Mouse inadvertently discovers this place. Mischievously, he plays with the magics and creates a monster. And Mickey flees, not even knowing that anything bad has happened. But the Blot is furious, so he just devastates the world. But this world has a hero of its own. It's got Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, the first forgotten, rejected character that Disney created. And so Oswald and the Blot engage in the Blot Wars, which rage for years. One of the most important things in the game is the idea of a heart. No character in the Wasteland has a heart. Mickey has the most powerful heart of all. The villains of the piece are going to steal his heart and use it so they can get out and trap Mickey in the Wasteland. But Mickey escapes. But as he explores the Wasteland, what he discovers is that he's responsible for the devastation of this world. And if he just leaves without righting that wrong, his old friends are going to be living a not very pleasant life. Mickey's core abilities in the game involve the manipulation of paint. He can actually control the power of paint and the power of thinner. Now with thinner, anything that's painted in the world, he can just erase it. He can erase a wall, he can erase the ceiling, jump up through it. One of my goals for the game is to put Mickey in a story that really confronts him with the kinds of challenges worthy of a hero. And that's kind of the heart of the story. It's about redeeming yourself, redeeming others, and healing the land. And at the end of the day, I think mostly it'll be about being a hero, having fun, and engaging in an epic story.
I know it's such a small little thing, but I am very, very excited for Lefty Mode. Hooray! It's going to be, wait for it, epic. I can't use that.